Hello everyone, Mr. Kaczynski with you. Classifying quadrilaterals 2 in section O of IXL's 8th grade math for this video. Some stuff that can be kind of confusing for people. Alright, we start off pretty basic here. A kite is always a quadrilateral, yes or no? Well, this is yes, because a kite will always have four sides. A kite would be where you have two pair of adjacent sides that are congruent, kind of like this. Okay, so that'd be a kite. It would have to have four sides, so it's always going to be a quadrilateral. Is a square always a rectangle? Yes, it is, because a square will always have four right angles, and that's the only definition of a rectangle. Okay. Now, if it was the other way around, a rectangle is always a square. No, a rectangle is sometimes a square, but not always. Is a parallelogram always a square? Well, a square is a parallelogram, but a parallelogram isn't necessarily a square. I can draw a parallelogram like this that does not have any right angles or even four congruent sides, so therefore it's not always a square. Is a rhombus always a rectangle? No. All right, so a rectangle is always a rhombus, but a rhombus isn't always a rectangle. So the direction on these statements matters sometimes as well. All right, and then we get into these, which is kind of leading into what I've been talking about. A square is blank a parallelogram. Is a square always a parallelogram? Well, a parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides. Will a square always have two pairs of parallel sides? Yes, it will. All right, so the opposite sides of a square will always be parallel, so that's why it will always be a parallelogram. It's a special kind of parallelogram that has four right angles and four equal sides. What about a rectangle compared to a rhombus? Will a rectangle always be a rhombus? Well, a rectangle will always be a parallelogram, and a rhombus is a kind of parallelogram, but it's always got four equal sides. So a rectangle sometimes will be a rhombus. Okay, so, and it would look like this. Four equal sides. That would make it a rhombus. Four right angles. That would make it a rectangle. A rectangle that is a rhombus would be called a square, but sometimes a rectangle can be a rhombus. Last one, a parallelogram is blank a rectangle. This is again sometimes, okay? Sometimes. I can have parallelograms that are not rectangles, and I can have parallelograms that are rectangles. So sometimes, because this side is parallel to this side is parallel to this side. That makes it a parallelogram, and it's a rectangle because it has four right angles. But we don't have to have four right angles, so just sometimes. All right, so that's the kind of things you'll be dealing with in classifying quadrilaterals 2, part of IXL's 8th grade math, section O. Good luck.